Now listen, there's this false narrative, right? And shout out to the brother Malcolm X, who is one of my favorite leaders, one of the greatest orators of just ever. You know, when we talk about black people and you talk about black unity and black growth and black power, you have to mention Malcolm X. But there's this one statement, right? And I want you to listen to it. Listen to this.
I just told you a little while ago, these leaders that they call leaders, this included Lena Horne, this included Dick Gregory, and this included comedians, comics, trumpet players, baseball players. Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that have been set up over the white community and over the black community by the white community and have been made celebrities and usually say exactly what they know that the white man wants to hear.
Now listen, I understood the premise, right? I understood what he was saying. At that time, I think at that time it was more understanding, right? I think at that time, just entertainers and comedians were just viewed as that, right? We didn't understand that there were dynamics beyond that, right? At that time, we didn't understand that certain athletes, you know, the Jim Browns, you know, the Muhammad Ali's, were that profound. We didn't understand that, you know, there would be Harry Belafonte's, right? But I think as we look and as we've evolved, we realize that I think that I've realized, and I'm willing to have this conversation or debate with anybody who doesn't agree, but a lot of our entertainers, a lot of our athletes, a lot of our comedians, all of them are actually great leaders, right? They just happen to be skilled. Happen to be skilled. So because somebody knows how to rap, or they know how to dance, or they know how to act, that takes away the ability that they have to lead. We know athletes that do a bunch of things. They're athletic, right? We look at Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown to me is an anomaly, right? When I listen to him speak, and then I understand the trajectory of where he'll be in the next 10 years and what he will create for black people, to say that Jaylen Brown is not a leader because he's an athlete and he shouldn't be looked upon as a leader, we shouldn't take his words, you know, as important or at face value because he's an athlete, because he can play basketball, is not real to me. It's actually a false reality, right? We have a bunch of black people who can lead, who have been actually artists and entertainers first. Louis Farrakhan, right? He plays an instrument. He's a musician. The first thing he did was a musician. He was brought to the nation. He got the knowledge, and I think people will argue that he was one of the greatest leaders ever, right? He didn't start out as just a leader. He didn't start out as a scholar, but he turned into that. You know, the skill set that he had to memorize music and be very, you know, creative and be very detail orientated as you create music. Those things are leadership qualities that you have to have. So how do we diminish people who have actually led because they happen to be able to entertain and they utilize that skill set to make money and provide for their families? Harry Belafonte, one of the greatest civil rights leaders of all time. He was one of the best actors of all time, broke barriers. But without Harry Belafonte, there probably would have been no Martin Luther King, right? And then he continued on in that trajectory to mentor and bring forth other leaders, right? So we have this conversation and he says, you know, blacks are the only ones who utilize it. Ronald Reagan was the president. He was an actor. right? They make their actors and all that the president of the United States. These are people that have led the country we live in. Donald Trump was an actor. Donald Trump is a reality TV star that turned into the president. They let the Terminator become the governor. Like, these are realities. So when we look at the trajectory, and we look at their trajectory, and we look at what their leadership and the level of leadership that they got out of entertainment, why would we diminish the leaders that I believe are way better? I would take Harry Belafonte over Trump any day. I'd take Jim Brown over the Terminator any day. I'd take Farrakhan over Ronald Reagan any day. So why are we diminishing our leaders because they happen to be talented in another field? You know, so sorry, Brother Malcolm, you know I love you, but I have to push back on that. I believe just because you're skilled in one area doesn't mean that you're not a scholar or a leader in another area. I think that the ability that it takes to be skilled, you know, the tedious nights that you have to practice, you know, whether you're a tap dancer, whether you make jokes, that you have to come out there and perform and have to appeal to this crowd every night. I think that's leadership in itself. Because if it wasn't, everybody probably be able to do it. So because you have a skill set, right? Sometimes they say, if you want to make God laugh, you tell him your plans. I thought I was going to be the biggest rapper in the world. I loved rap. No, I actually thought I was going to be the president of the United States. That was the first thing I wanted to do. But then I started rapping. No, let me rewind. I thought I was going to be the best point guard in the world. I wanted to be Magic. I wanted to be Tim Hardaway, Kenny Anderson, and Allen Iverson all rolled in one. That's what I wanted. I wanted to be best point guard in the world. I had a gift for words. Then at that point, I said, I'm going to be the biggest rapper. I went to prison, sat down. So although I was skilled in all of these things, God had a different plan for me. I came home and started to be involved in this movement and said, you know what, I don't want to see black people die. I don't want to see black boys going to jail. I don't want to see us killing each other. You know, I can't peacefully coexist in a world that doesn't value my black skin. I can't peacefully coexist when I know that we don't have equity. When I know we don't have equality, I know we're not giving justice. I can't peacefully coexist with that. So the calling on my life was just different on the skill sets that I have. Should it diminish me from whatever it is that I'm doing? If that's how you see it, cool. And everything ain't for everybody. Some people might say, oh, you ain't no leader, you just a rapper, a fail, whatever the fuck you want to call me. But I know to some people, they come to me and tell me that I've changed their life. I know I go to schools and I sit down with young kings every day and we build. And I teach them how to apply life lessons, right? How to have emotional intelligence. I teach them through life and through music, right? I've been able to utilize my gifts for my purpose. So I think diminishing a person because he has gifts, saying that that's going to stop him from his purpose, is just wrong. You know, but I'm willing to have that conversation, whoever wants to have that conversation. If you think I'm wrong, then hey, I'm willing to discuss it, but I will never diminish anybody because they're talented. Because you know how to shoot a ball better than everybody else doesn't mean that you're not a leader, that you can't be a leader of black people. Whoever God sends down here and he puts whatever words in their mouth and puts whatever in their heart, I'm not trying to block it because I don't know what it looks like. I don't know the person that's going to lead us out of bondage looks like. I don't know who he is. So I'm not going to say who he's not. Or she's not.
Whoopie dee scoop whoop.